Horseshoe Pass is an iconic climb in North Wales, situated between Wrexham and Snowdonia. We're in the town of Llangollen, which will be well known to many UK summer holiday makers and to Harrison Ford, who once came here on a canal boat holiday.
Interesting fact.
More you know. But we are going to be climbing Horseshoe Pass. And Hannah, you have some key details.
So it's 6.5 kilometres long. It's pretty lengthy for a UK climb. And we're looking at around an average of 5%, which sounds pretty benign, but with sections of up to 12%, it's going to be pretty grippy at points, and I can see us spending a fair amount of time grovelling in our saddles.
Yeah, I agree. And there are a couple of different segments you can use should you be a Strava file. There is the official 100 climbs, or there is the Horseshoe Pass Challenge. Now, both of these are pretty much the same. They've both had over 10,000 attempts, and the KOM is in around 13 minutes 40 seconds, and the QOM is about 18:42.
That's not hanging around.
It's not. I'm not sure we'll be doing it that quickly today.
No.
So if you are going to ride it, expect to be riding your bike for anywhere between 13 minutes to half an hour, depending on how fast you want to take it. So
yeah, I feel like we're going to need a pretty good warm-up today. So we are actually starting from the town at the bottom of the climb. It's about a couple of kilometres out, so a nice little warm-up for our legs. Like I said, it's not completely flat, so a couple of undulations as well to kind of get the heart rate up, get the legs warmed up, and well, there's only one thing for it.
yeah, but I guess we better go and do it, really.
Let's do it.
We've begun, we've just rolled past the Horseshoe Pass climb.
The flag is in, as it were.
Yeah, it's dropped and we're on to 6 kilometres of pain. So actually I can see from my elevation profile on the Garmin that the first like 1.5k doesn't really get over like 3 or 4%.
This is such a full sense of security.
It really is,
isn't it?
because
I'm already out the saddle.
later on it really just ramps up. So enjoy it whilst it lasts, really.
Absolutely. And do you know what? Talking of enjoyment, and this is really, really super geeky, tarmac, it's not bad. I mean, there's one or two kind of potholes, but they haven't commenced that awful surface dressing yet.
Yeah.
So once it kind of rolls, like once we get over these kind of holes, it's pretty rapid.
So I can see on our Strava Live segments that we are currently being bested by Cycling Weekly's own Michelle Arthurs Brennan.
What?
Yeah, she must have been up here riding some time. So
She's virtually with us.
she's really pulling away. So we've just passed the Britannia Inn. It was the starting point for the national hill climb races that this hill was the venue of. So in 1971 and 76, there was a national hill climb race here, which started that pub, and almost immediately the gradient just kind of kick up.
Oh, don't you know it? Yeah, although, to be fair, we seem to be having a little bit of luck today, in that it looks like we've got a bit of a tailwind, Rupert.
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it?
Oof, yeah, I wouldn't want a headwind coming up
It's
here.
necessary.
Yeah, I think you probably are pretty exposed to the elements out here. I know there's some wooded section a bit further ahead, but at the bottom it does feel pretty open, doesn't it?
It does, and because, as the name suggests, horseshoe, it does go on a 180-degree bend back on itself. So the head and tailwinds can change. So Horseshoe Pass opened in 1811. So it's been around for a fair old whack of time.
It's like a full-on mountain pass, eh?
Yes, yeah, it is. It feels, dare I say it, quite alpine.
Yeah, I'll take that. There is pretty much, it's barren at the top.
Because what you would kind of expect in the UK is just, they just slam the road straight up that hillside. They'd be like, it's 25%.
Get on with it, get
But
over
they've
it.
built this wiggly loop, which is better for our legs, but obviously does extend the climb.
Yeah, and I'm guessing there's no tunnel option.
Unfortunately, not quite that alpine. And it's interesting that you said it's quite barren, because, well, in 2018 there was an enormous amount of wildfires in these areas from that very hot summer that we had.
Yeah.
This whole pass, the Horseshoe Pass, was engulfed in wildfire.
Right.
Hence why it's patchy green as it's kind of coming back through.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely imagine like snow peaks in winter. I guess it probably comes right down to the valley.
It does, they do close it.
Right.
If the snow falls heavy, I imagine it's a road that needs fairly regular upkeep because of the freeze-thaw effect.
My legs are just starting to complain.
Yeah, we've just done a steady section of between 10 and 12%
Well,
up that straight.
I beg to differ. There was a 20% sign just at the corner.
Yes, the 20% sign is somewhat disputed amongst the avid cycling forum fans on the internet. And I can't say I ever saw my Garmin hit 20%.
Well, yeah, that may be, but the chap who currently owns the Horseshoe Pass added this ride, this particular segment, on a 200-kilometre ride out of Liverpool.
Well,
Now, that's got to be pretty long day out,
yeah, I mean, you're going to cover some serious elevation.
and not
Yeah.
flat. I mean, you can just like look across the vista there, and it's just.
But it's just valleys, isn't it? Yeah, it's just up
absolutely.
and down continuously. We've kind of hit the summit stretch now. It's a grade of 2%, and any second now we'll be passing the Horseshoe Pass sign. But our finishing point is the famous Ponderosa Cafe.
Ah, yes, well known.
Very much loved amongst both cyclists, motorists and motorcyclists.
So, whereabouts are we sprinting to then?
Well, I guess there will be the, if you wanted the sign sprint, which we'll pass on the left in a second. But
Well, where
there's-
did Michelle sprint to?
Oh, she's long gone. Long gone. There it is.
There it is.
1,367 feet. Oh, she's rolled me.
Oh, there's a sheep. A sheep on the road.
So we've done it. We've made it to the top of Horseshoe Pass, and I can tell you we are currently at 416 meters of elevation. So not quite prestigious alpine levels of height, but it's a lovely climb actually. Now I can tell you our stats from today's ride. We did it in 28 minutes 25 seconds, which isn't going to be breaking any records, but please bear with us because, you know, we were riding behind a car and having a lovely natter and telling you about the surrounding area.
Positively cruising. But I think if you're under racing conditions, it's going to hurt, it's going to sting. It's one of those climbs where you can just constantly see the top from way back before the actual kind of horseshoe element. You're looking up, you're getting glistens of the cars as they're wending their way down. And it's going to be not just a physical challenge, but a real mental one.
Absolutely. And also the gradient is a lot of times bearable, so you can bury yourself.
Yeah.
You could big ring quite a lot of this.
Yeah, for sure, without
Yeah.
a doubt. Like I say, it's a mental challenge, this climb, and you've just got to hang on to the fact that as your legs are screaming at you and wanting you to stop, if you were pressing on, you just got to remember that everyone else is also hurting.
But for us, that is a wrap on Horseshoe Pass, and thank you so much for joining us again on another iconic climb. As ever, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Cycling Weekly YouTube channel, and please leave a comment in the section below. The only thing that's left for us to do is to descend back down again,
Whoa,
really.
whoa, whoa, hold it right there. You owe me an ice cream. I seem to remember I won the sprint.